It's June 26, 2022. I'm Todd Dunn, and today we're out on our 1972 Allied Princess Ketch Seaquestor for a little afternoon sail. Let's take a look and see what conditions look like. Supposed to have around 7 to 9 knots of wind this afternoon, and as you can see, it's pretty hazy, and there's fog in the forecast for tonight. It may come in earlier. And there's 4 boats getting ready to race out there. As we look out toward the cranberries, the wind is southeast. And it was blowing harder at the entrance to Southwest Harbor, right back there. But out here, it's not so much. So anyway, we're just going to sail around today. If the fog starts rolling in, we'll roll in too. Here's Greening Island over here. We're sailing by on the south side of Greening. And Greening, like Sutton Island, only has summer homes on it. No one lives there year-round. There's some huge summer homes and some more modest little cottages, basically. But we're going to stop until we get past the island. Well, we have fallen off a little. We decided to go out on the north side of Sutton Island, between Sutton and Mount Desert Island. Haven't been in there yet this season. And we'll go out a ways, probably past East Bunker Ledge. I don't know how far we'll go. It depends on what this haze does, if it turns into fog or not. If we look south out the Western Way, you can't see much out there because there is fog. There's Great Cranberry and Little Cranberry in the distance, and Sutton ahead on the starboard bow. So we'll go out a ways and see what it looks like. And if the fog starts to roll in, we'll turn around and head back. Now this is the west end of Sutton Island. It's quite rocky, and there are some rocks that are just awash right now at half tide. So you don't want to go too close over there. I don't know if you can see it in this image. Let's see if I can, maybe I'll zoom in. And there is a 100-plus-year-old osprey nest on top of that rock. And it's usually occupied. Now we're going to sail in behind the island, and the wind is going to lighten up because right now the wind is south and the island will be directly south for us. And we're going to go consequently on the north side of the island, and we'll be in its wind shadow. One thing I've noticed, you can probably see it up there, there's a lot more lobster here than there was the last time we were out. It's really picked up. And where we are right now, that's Bear Island. It's a port. You can see the lighthouse up there. And Northeast Harbor is starting to get a few transient boats. Not many. The north side of Sutton is much rockier than the south side. And there are homes up there on top of the cliffs, set back into the trees. And as we get further up, there are a few fairly substantial waterfront summer cottages. But really a different island here on the north side than it is on the south side. Sutton's quite a small island. It's less than a mile long, and say a little over a quarter mile, maybe even 3/8 of a mile wide at the widest point. And like Greening Island, it's only occupied during the summer. As we sail east here on the north side of Sutton Island, we get a good look at the rest of Bear Island, which you haven't seen this year in any of my videos. Now, Bear Island is owned by Acadia National Park, but the lighthouse and the land around it are leased out on a long-term lease to a private entity, And as a consequence, even though the island is in Acadia National Park, it is closed to the public. Although you can cruise your boat over very close to it. The north side of Bear is pretty shallow in the little gap between Bear Island and the main part of Mount Desert Island. And you can take a boat like this through there, but realistically, I wouldn't do it except at high tide, because if you make a mistake, you will hit a rock at low tide. Yeah, pretty hazy as we look over toward Cadillac Mountain on the right, over there. We're in pretty light air now. Still on the north side of Sutton. You can see a couple small summer cottages over there. And but I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but if you watch for a little bit, there's about a 2.5 to 3 foot swell coming in from the ocean. And it's a very long period, so it's kind of hard to see. But there you go, we're up on top. And even with very little wind, we're going to get out here because we have a fair tide, which is taking us out. And when we come back in, we'll go on the other side of Sutton Island, just because it will, we won't be in the wind shadow of the island, and we'll have a little more air. And the tide is going to continue going out for about another 3 hours or so. You can see some of the homes of Seal Harbor on the hillside over there. Well, there's very light air in here. I expected that, but it's even lighter than I thought. That is the east end of Sutton Island there. We're almost there. And a little closer view of the Seal Harbor area with some rather nice homes up on the hillside there. Pretty much all of the homes that you can see from here are summer homes. Those are all rather expensive. And if you were to, those two hills you can see back there, the smaller than the others, are the Bubbles. They're at the north end of Jordan Pond. We're just clearing the east end of Sutton Island, and the wind has finally come back. It got down to almost nothing there for a while. Our boat speed got down to about 1.5 knots. Out there is East Bunker Ledge, which marks the eastern boundary of what is considered to be the Great Harbor of Mount Desert Island. And there is still a little lobster gear out here that I'm going to have to sail around. In the distance over there, you might be able to make out the Schoodic Peninsula and the Haze. Pretty faint though. And you can see into Seal Harbor a little bit better here. Seal Harbor is a place that not many visiting boats go into, because there are essentially no rental moorings in there, and there's very little room to anchor, so very few people go there, and the town doesn't have much. I think there is a restaurant and a little store, and that's pretty much it. So not much you can do there. It's mostly a summer community, although there are a few people that live year-round there, but not a lot. We're pretty much straight south of Seal Harbor. Right over the harbor, the two smaller hills are the Bubbles. And you can see some of the larger summer cottages on the hillside there. And just past that last summer cottage, the rest of Mount Desert Island as you go east Park. And we are approaching East Bunker Ledge. I'll shoot a little more video of it when we get to our closest approach. And back astern is the gap we came through, Sutton Island on the left, and that's Bear Island on the right. And that area with the prevailing southwest winds often has very little wind, and it's also usually pretty warm. Today it was probably 10 degrees warmer than it is out here, and with almost no wind it was pretty sultry in there. I'm guessing the temperature was in the middle 70s. And over this way we can see a sailboat sailing out of the gap between Sutton Island and the Cranberries. That's Little Cranberry there. And we're getting closer to East Bunker Ledge. There's the sort of pyramid that's on the ledge. There are often a lot of seals on the ledge, although they're kind of hard to see. Don't know if there'll be too many today, because as you can see there's a bit of surf breaking on it from this swell, which is more noticeable here than it was further in. But it's long period, so the boat hardly feels it. Later in the summer there will probably be a flag flying from that little stone pyramid there. Once we get past this ledge, if you continue east, you just go up the Gulf of Maine, pass down East Maine to the Bay of Fundy and New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. Okay, there's a closer view of East Bunker Ledge. You don't want to go super close to that because, as you can see from the surf, it's pretty shallow over there in places. We're in 70 feet of water right here, but you get over there it gets a little shallow. And if you look back through historical records, there is quite a list of schooners back in the 19th century that ran aground on that ledge. Usually in storms, people trying to get into the Great Harbor to hide from a storm hit the ledge. There's a similar ledge called South Bunker Ledge at the entrance to the Western Way, and there's quite a list of schooners and other ships that ran aground there as well. Yeah, this is our closest approach to the ledge as we sail east past it. You can see the waves breaking on the rocks. Mount Desert Island in the background, and it looks like there might be a thunderstorm tonight, judging from the thunderheads that are building over there to the north. And you can see the Schoodic Peninsula a little bit better now as we have gotten closer, and the haze doesn't seem as bad out here. To the north we've got Little Cranberry Island, and the more distant land is Baker Island. So we're going to go out here a little bit further and then sail back into the Great Harbor. Because now that we're past the ledge, we are in the Gulf of Maine and out in, if you will, the open ocean. And there definitely is a pretty good sized swell running out here, but it's about a 10 or 12 second period, so you know, the boat just goes up and down. I'd say it's running at least 3 feet, maybe a little bit more. And a look at the ledge as we've sailed past it. Now, we're beating south at about 4.5 to up around 5 knots. That's Baker Island straight ahead. Given the wind direction, we're not going to try to go around the islands. We'll just turn in a few minutes, we'll tack and head head back past Little Cranberry and go south of Sutton Island back into the main part of the Great Harbor. But as you can see, the swell is much more noticeable out here. Not exactly an issue for this boat, but you can feel it now. Sorry about the wind noise, but we're beating back in, heading west. That's Little Cranberry Island to port. And we're making high fives against the tide. Right now we're heeled 15 to 20 degrees, depending on when we get a little puff or not. So it's a little lumpy. However, as soon as we get a little into the wind shadow of the island, this will flatten out quite a bit. Yeah, this is going to be our closest approach to Little Cranberry Island. Maybe 150 feet. We're in about 50 feet of water, and you can get pretty close to these rocks here because it's deep, almost right up to them. And we're just about passing the shallow spot now, 40 feet. And we will come in between Little Cranberry Island and Sutton Island, which is straight ahead now. Now, as is often the case when you're sailing around these islands, the wind is quite variable. It wasn't long ago that we were hitting 20 degrees of heel, and now we're blazing along at 1.9 knots, and if we're hitting about 2 or 3 degrees of heel. Very light air in here, north of Great Cranberry and south of Sutton Island. And over there to the west is where we're going. That is Southwest Harbor. And often here in the Great Harbor of Mount Desert Island, the wind drops off dramatically late in the afternoon. It's not unusual at 4 o'clock to have 10-15 knots of wind, and a little bit after 5 to have nothing. So we'll see what happens. I think as we come up here and get out from behind Great Cranberry, we're in the lee of Great Cranberry right now, that the wind will pick up. And this is the Sperling Rock Bell. Well, we finally got past the dead spot. Boat speed got down to 0.2 knots, and we were actually going the wrong way, so we started the engine for a couple of minutes and motored back into the wind. And we're looking north now toward Northeast Harbor, just past the end of that gravel bar, and we're headed almost due west, a little bit north of west toward Southwest Harbor. We're making 2.5 knots now, but that's better than 0. And there's Great Cranberry Harbor over there. So we're headed back towards Southwest Harbor. At this rate, we're a little under an hour out of Southwest Harbor, but we're not in a hurry, so we'll just continue sailing. Well, the wind picked up and we're up to a bit over 5 knots, and we're on a beam reach right now, headed straight for Southwest Harbor. In relatively flat water. Feels like about 10, maybe a little bit more knots of wind as we head into Southwest Harbor. We're going to go and pick up our mooring, relax there for a while, and then head back to the marina. As we look south out the western way, what I thought was a fog bank was actually a very hazy Gotts Island. But as you can see, it's still pretty hazy out there to the south. And a bit hazy looking east. Hope you enjoyed our little cruise today. It was quite a nice day. Winds were a bit variable, but other than that, it was very pleasant. Had a nice cruise. The wind is actually picking up now. It might be a little windier tonight. So, thanks for watching.